Welcome back to our Spanish style tavern build. Today we're going to be doing the roof. Yeah, get that baby up. We're going to do some ceiling work. Show you how to lay that out. And then we will do some lighting. We'll hang some chandeliers. We'll fine tune our lighting scheme. We don't want it too light or too dark. So we'll get that dialed in. And that's going to be up next. Okay, so part 4 to 5 of our tavern build. We're almost done. We'll go ahead and do the roof. Well, in order to get to the roof, you need to get up to the roof. It's always better to be on top of a tile that you want to put down. So to do the roof, you need to get up and out, build some scaffolding. You can use this here. This is like a straw roof. You can use stairs, you know, whatever. I use this because I have tons of plant fibers. And then we'll get the floor. Once we get to the height, we want to be able to get around the building. So we need the scaffolding. So like I said, you want to be above the tile, especially on these roofs, because the roof, if you don't have it positioned just right, you're going to be off. So we'll have to build up the wall just one more tile, so when we do our overhangs, it doesn't cover up the window. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just getting all the walls at the same height. Oh yeah, and also the interior walls you want to build up too, because when you're laying down the ceiling, you want to make sure it goes above the ceiling. You don't want to see the top of the wall. That looks like it went too high on this internal wall, so we'll just take care of that now. It's much easier to do it before the roof gets in. And just check to make sure everything's right. Here's my cornfields. I'm gonna make a mill/distillery combo building. Okay, next to this one. Even though corn's not a traditional Caribbean product. It's really cane, sugar cane. We grew sugar cane in the Caribbeans. And when you process the sugar cane, you get sugar and molasses. And the molasses is used to make rum. So that's what came out of the Caribbean. It's rum and sugar. The Brits, the French, the Spaniards, they all fought over it. And that's how the pirate was born. Or I should say privateer at that time. We didn't become pirates till later, till after the war was over. The privateers still wanted to capture gold from these ships. And other goods. Anyways, we're just going to continue with our scaffolding. If it gets to the point where you cannot lay down any more tiles, just attach it to the building. Another attachment point. And then the scaffolding will allow it, then the game will allow you to lay down more scaffolding. Because it's more structurally sound. See how it's turning yellow? There, we made it. Okay, we'll just finish up this wall here real quick and move on to the left. That's what we're really here for. Okay, looks like everything's the same level. Okay, so when you get to the roof, you want to lay down the overhang first, of course. It's going to line everything up. But start with the corners. Now it looks like this fireplace lines it. Finished yet. So I'll have to go and finish that because we can't line up the roof with that. So So let me just do this real quick. I wonder if that ramp's gonna get in the way here. Let's see. And this is the limestone level, in case you guys are wondering. Limestone walls, clay tile roofs. Okay. There we go. Get into the corner. Make sure you're sitting on the wall. If the top of that roof is sitting on the wall. And important you take your time at this stage, because if you get this wrong, everything behind it or after it, it's going to be off. So just get that seated in the right position. And this is why it's so important to be up on top of the roof, so it will actually sit in the right place. If you're trying to place a roof, if you're down below it, it's just not going to work. So get your scaffolding, get these tiles placed properly, and then you're golden. Take our scaffolding's getting in the way of placement. Just move to the side. There we go. I'm going to fill it in with this single piece here. And now we're in an inside corner. The tile that they have is too big for this area. So I'll just fill it in with a single tile and it's good. It's good to go. Same here, it's inside the demo. And voila, Bob's your uncle. Now the inside corners, when we get to the next layer, the next level, or next row I guess I should say, we'll use the inside corner. Here it is, the inside corner. And it's still too big for this overhang. But when we get to the next row, it's going to fit. We'll use it. But right now we'll just stick to the single tile. And that's just going to be the ceiling of this alcove for the front door. I'll hang a chandelier in there to light it up. I'll just close that off. It's not absolutely necessary, but I mean, and the scaffolding's getting in my way. And I don't want to rebuild it, so here we go. I'll make it work. Okay, here's the outside corner, the next layer. And you just want to make sure that's seated properly on top of the first layer. See those little teeth, those little shingles at the very bottom? That's your lineup point. That's what you want to overlap on the first layer. Get all your outside corners before filling it in. And just make sure you're overlapping the second layer to the first. Okay. And there's the inside corner we talked about. Just wipe that sucker down, make sure it's lined up properly. Yep. And then we can do outside corner. That should line up. Make sure. Does it? Yes, it does. Alright. Moving on. Want to make sure this is going to line up properly with the front here. We got another inside corner. Yeah, that's good. Okay. That's all there is to it. And you got an outside corner, inside corner, that alcove really, or that bump out for the front door and 2 windows really gives it some character, the building. It's not just one big square. And that also gives you decorated space. You can put in some tables, chairs, whatever. It gives you some options, you know? Alright, so this piece looks like we're going to have a little bit of columns. It's not going to do it. I think what I need to do is just take a straight rough tile and just go right through that bump out. It's not going to work. But you gotta try it, right? Give me a minute, I'll figure it out. Thinking. Banking, banking. Realignment. Well, you can see. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you can get yourself in trouble with the alignments. So let's just throw them. Sometimes you just have these weird angles. You just have to figure it out. And there you go. That works. I don't know why it took me so long to figure it out. But that's how it goes. Alright. Moving along. Looks good. Okay, so we're going to need an inside corner here. There we go. It's looking good. A central main body and then two sides. So they should come together really nicely, this roof. Yeah, so we'll just finish this up here. So these two rings are just going to go into the main body. Just like we did over there on the back of the fireplace. You could also have used the outside corner in that area. I think an outside corner would be a much better finish in this area. Okay, so we can get rid of the scaffolding. That's not a very good place for a fire chimney. I would have, thinking back now, I would have put it up on the top, very top. Let's take a look at it from a distance, see how that looks. Let's finish the rid of that scaffolding. No one need it. Build up that wall. To cover up the overlapping of the roof. We're also going to put a ceiling in here, so that's going to actually hide a lot of that stuff. And if you want, you can actually keep that roof exposed. That's not a bad idea. But I like ceilings, so that's what I'm going to do. So these ceilings have these two beams on it. The beam should be going towards or facing the short end of the room. So example, if you have a rectangle, those beams should span across the shorter distance. That's normal. That's how they do it in construction. You don't have a beam going the greater span. It spans the shorter distance. So keep that in mind. And if, for example, you had to stop putting in the ceiling for some reason, you came back to it. Let's say you moved on to a different tile and you came back to it. Those beams might not line up. So you have to make sure your new beams are positioned properly. Can't tell you how many ceilings I had to rip out to redo, because I didn't keep that in mind. Okay. I think we're good here. We can mix the line down. Finish up a few little touches that we missed. Go in here, check the line. Mhm. I think it's time we start thinking about our lighting. Now we got this open area here, perfect spot for a chandelier, or in this case, two. First thing we need to think about is placement. Since we're going to have two, we need to get them centered to the edge, or to the 1/3 of this opening. So we'll start just by laying down some chain first. We'll attach a chandelier to it and see if our spacing is appropriate. So we should be on a beam. Looks like it's going to be off a little bit, but that's okay. You're not going to notice it that much. So we'll just start here. It's a good spot right there in the center of this. Okay. That's our control. Now let's go over here and see if we really are. Oh, it's too close to the edge. That's the center. That's the fireplace, so that's the center of the opening. So we need to go move over. But apparently we're not going to do that right at this moment. And again, if you don't like it and you destroy whatever item it is, you get all those resources back. So it doesn't hurt to experiment. So we're way too close to the balcony. We need to move it over. And that's about right. Just give it up. Yeah, that's about right. And again. Right about there. Halfway in between those two. Looks okay. And let's see if the chandelier sits. Definitely don't need that. So we'll get rid of that. Oops, there we go. Unfortunately, this game doesn't have an undo button, so I'll start over. I think that's about right. Okay, they're centered. They're about the same. Well, not about. They are the same level. Alright, let's hang some chandeliers. Alright, so in this case, with the chandeliers, you need to be below the item you're trying to place, which is contradictory to what I said earlier. So there are some exceptions, but yeah, get below where you want to hang it, and you'll find it much easier. So yeah, these chandeliers seem to be positioned properly, so we can get rid of these temporary lighting sconces. We don't need them. Looks good. Now, that chandelier is going to be too big for that. Yeah, way too big. Look at the smaller. Yeah. And then over here towards the bar area. Yeah, much better. So we can get rid of these. Yeah, looks good. Like I said earlier, in your lighting scheme, you don't want everything brightly lit. You want to have some shadow. It gives it depth, gives the environment depth, some character. Deep dark shadow is reserved for an environment you want it to be mysterious or spooky. But medium shadow, like what I have on the walls here, gives it some drama, it gives it some variety, makes it more interesting. So keep that in mind when you're doing your lighting. Play around with light, dark shadow, and deep dark shadow, and see what you like. Okay, so that's it for now. Next time we're going to do some furniture. We'll do the furniture, put in some, kegs and tables and stuff like that. So, I hope you join me. I'll see you next time.